like something here.
Needs 7 to keep it going. There's the pass off the hands of Pascal. And the Steelers are going to win the division.
If you steal a gang, then you bang, 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 bang. If you with the team, then you gang, bang, bang, bang. If you steal a gang, then you bang, bang. If you with the team, then you gang, bang. I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler, black and gold is in my veins, and I'll ride for my city. You can see that in my face. 3 rivers over 2, you can come and get a taste. Teams mad, we got them ring. It's a lot to let them hate. Run the game.
But let's get into it, man. We finally broke the 3-game losing streak, beat the Indianapolis Colts 28-24. And I'm just trying to figure out what was everyone's thoughts. It looks like the first half was a complete dud for us. Outside of the one turnover that we got that put us in the red zone, and we were able to punch it in and get 7 points there in the first half. We kind of didn't do anything effectively there. But in the second half, it looked like, we were able to get it together and, make some things happen. So, Jim, what was your thoughts as far as with the performance? I'll let you go in.
Well, I've never seen an 11-0 team so happy about winning the AFC North. Juju and his solid gold dancers dancing in the locker room. But, hey, I tell you what, Coach Tomlin, he said that T.J. Watt is from another planet, and I agree, man. I think T.J. Watt's the greatest defensive player in Steeler history. Mike Hilton, great part-time player. And Cassius shook up the world. The blonde bomber, number 49. Cassius Marks, float like a butterfly and stings like all lead, man. We got another linebacker.
Yeah, he was definitely delivering the wood, man. It's going to be interesting to see, what he does coming up this Sunday, getting some additional reps, with us wrestling a lot of players, definitely. Chris, man, what was your thoughts, man? How did you see everything, shape out there with the performance?
I don't know what Tomlin gave him, bro. He gave him like that. He gave him that water boy Alaskan water in that locker room at halftime, bro. That Bobby Boucher water, bro. They drank some shit. They came, or maybe it was that Monstar juice from fucking, you know what I mean? Jordan had when he was playing with the Bugs Bunny in them. Like, I don't know what he did, bro, but they came out a whole new team. I mean, crazy. They they couldn't, it seemed like they couldn't get it together in the first half. They just weren't really clicking. Nothing was really going for them. Seemed like they kind of got down on themselves because they was coming off of that three-ran run already. So it was like 3 loss. They was kind of like down a little bit. And then once they started realizing that, look, man, what the fuck? They came out that second half, man, they was gunning, bro.
Yeah.
They was putting it together how Ben was moving like he should have been. Everyone was catching. The only thing, and I'm going to say it now, and I recognize it heavy too. Yeah, we're still nice, but it's still not the same without our pizzazz, bro. Like, we were there, but we weren't the 11-0 team without the pizzazz. Even Juju scored and just stopped and grabbed the ball and put his head down over all that bullshit going on. I mean, I know that we'll talk about that later in the show, but all over that, like, it just was not the pizzazz. We are there. We were what we were supposed to be, but we wasn't what we were yet.
Yeah. And
we didn't have more shit. And I think that now that everyone sees that we're back to it, I mean, I hope we get back to our zone and start moving it. And you're going to see, I think next week, or not this week, but when we get our starters back in, I think you're going to see a whole new ball game because now we're on our zone. Everyone got their Ville on, just like on a basketball court, baby. You got to leave with that 3-pointer, that switch before you get off the court. That's good luck.
Yeah.
They left. They about to take their rest after they banged the shit out of the Colts in that second half. So, I mean, they're feeling good. That's a good vibe to sit back on. I mean, I think that whatever they talked about in the locker room, and I will definitely blame that on Mike Tomlin because he is great with his speeches. So I guarantee you he gave them some shit that I don't know, man, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that because coming out in the second half, like I think myself and a lot of Steeler fans included, we actually thought we were going to lose the game. What was it like? Maybe about 3 minutes left in the third quarter. We're still down by about 21 points. we get down there in the red zone. It's 3rd and 3. They're not running the ball. They're passing it. We wind
Yeah.
up turning the ball over. I thought that the game was over then. So for Ben to come out with these heroics and, lead us back, and then before you know it, with 6 minutes left in the game, we've turned this game around. We're up 28-24, and Mike Hilton gets that big interception at the end of the game. That said a lot. That
but I
definitely
mean,
said a lot.
here's what I did notice, though. Jim, tell me if I'm wrong on this. If you notice this too, our whole offensive play calling switched up in the second half.
Yes. I believe Juju said that the defense was actually calling out the offensive plays right there at the line of scrimmage, and that Ben needed to make some adjustments at the end of the game. So did you hear anything about that, Jim?
I heard about them calling out the plays on the line. I did hear that. I heard about them doing that. They said they was calling out.
Did you hear anything about Ben, stepping in and making play call adjustments there at the line? Because I'm hearing some mixed information. I'm hearing he was, but then Tomlin supposedly said at the press conference that he didn't, and he gave, Fichtner, pretty much all of the credit. So, like, what were you hearing, Jim? I know you're back there on the back scene, man.
You hear everything.
Hey, listen. Teams all year has been, predicting the plays we're gonna have because there's no fans in the stands, man. It's quiet out there, man. But the Pittsburgh Steelers is doing the same thing, man, when they're on defense. So, it all evens out, man. So I think it's just shop talk. But we all know that Big Ben calls the majority of the plays. He checks off. He got the feelings for the game. Listen, back in the day, the quarterbacks always called their own plays. So there's nothing different. They're out there. Ben got, the feel of the game. And I think once he got, the Pittsburgh Steelers Rookie of the Year, Chase Claypool involved in the second half, man, that just ignited the entire team, man. Everybody got excited after that and started making big plays.
Oh, yes, definitely. That Claypool reception, that definitely, added a spark of energy into the stadium, especially without there being, any fans there. Because I know all the people who I was around watching the game, we were like, hell yeah, finally, we're getting the ball to Claypool. Because
what about the other catch? What about that other catch, though?
Which one? Because there was a few.
I'm talking about that touchdown, bruh. Don't take that from him. He stretched and caught that shit out there.
Yeah.
Claypool had a nice catch, don't get me wrong, but the catch of the game was that all day, man.
Yeah.
He dove and caught that touchdown ball, bro. I was like, what? And especially on him about dropping the ball.
Yes.
His hands being a little weak. And I mean, it was like he had a nice game. I say, he had a nice half. You know what I mean? He had a nice half. He was, I mean, I think that he definitely, to me, was making big plays in that game.
Yeah, we got to give the whole receiving core props this past game, especially in the second half. I mean, even if you look at Ebro, for him to be playing against, his former team, and like you just said there with Deontay Johnson and with Ebro as well, a lot of the drops, that we've had, here over the past few weeks have, been contributed by them. And it seemed like over the past 2 games, they've been trying to get it right. They may still, have mistake every now and then, but you could definitely tell that they're putting in that extra effort to make sure that they're completing every pass, catching some of these passes that they have been dropping. And for Ebro to be playing against his old team, I heard they were talking trash throughout the whole game because they believed that he quit on them last season. When he checked out and he went on the injured reserve before them attempting to make that playoff run last season. So he went out there and he showed them. So I have to give, Ebron, like you said, Deontay Johnson, and definitely Juju, man.
I was going to say, don't let me take it from Juju's catch.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to take that shot when he caught that ball.
Yes.
He knew 180% he was going to take that shot. He took that shit like a champ. Stepped up and he needed his flair back. That's all he was missing. I mean, it didn't even seem like Juju without it.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see, how that energy transitions into the playoffs here. Let's kick it on to the defensive side of the ball here, man. As we talked, I mean, we got a lot of ballers out here. I mean, we just named TJ Watt. He's team MVP for 2020 this season.
Oh, hands down.
I know he's competing for some other hardware before it's all said and done here. This past game, he's had 2 sacks, 1 tackle for a loss, and then we also got some of the other interior linemen into the mix. Cam Hayward, he was able to register a sack. Stephon Tuitt, he registered a big sack on a key 3rd and 3 down situation there in the red zone that kept Indianapolis to a field goal that allowed us to come back to win that game. So I know Tuitt, he's been taking a lot of heat since that Washington game. With some of the comments he made, but he came in and he produced. I saw a lot from him, and then we pretty much have the young gun out there, man, Avery Williamson. He picked up, I believe, was 9 tackles. A few were assisted, 2 were for loss. But then he also registered his first sack as a Pittsburgh Steeler. So I want to see what everyone's thinking as far as with that. I'm gonna kick it to you there, Chris. What was your thoughts as far as with the defensive performance and how everybody balled out?
I'm gonna agree with Jim on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I was just happy we found a backup linebacker.
Yes.
Oh my God! Like I was like, thank you. I seen it started. He just formed in there and everything was moving correctly. Our defense is just it. Period. Of course, Watt ahead, leading everything in there, but don't get anything twisted from anybody else on there. And the crazy part is our defense is this nice, and we have 4 starters down. And the 4 starters we have down are all A1 players. You know what I mean? So you got to remember that too. We have 4 defensive starters down. And we're still doing this like this. It's crazy. Our backfield was so strong. We was a little shaky there, weren't we there, Jim, about the linebacker position for a minute, huh?
Playing safety down there.
2 weeks in a row there, bro. We were talking about that shit.
And I think we talked about it too. And I think
me and Jim went back and forth. It was like 3 weeks in a row. Me and Jim went back and forth talking about how shaky and worried we were about that shit. That's why I said something to him.
Yeah, but I
literally
think we talked about it last week. Specifically about Vince Williams actually coming back in and making a lot of the checks and settling down the defense. And I think it took them a half for him to really get into the feel of everything. I know Joe Hayden, he had that one play where, he kind of was like abused on that one play, and there was a little bit of breakdown in communication there in the secondary. But then in the second half, they started to get it together, so they started to get together and they shut Indianapolis down.
Bro.
So
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, they shut them down. Hey, Jim. Hey, just like you said earlier, when he stepped in there at that linebacker position, dog, I was like, hey!
Yeah.
What'd you feel, bro? As soon as you seen him, tell me. Be honest.
What's that, Chris?
I said, what'd you feel as soon as you seen him come on and start doing what he was doing? How'd you feel?
Man, I was so happy, man. First of all, I was happy that Vince Williams got back in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with Vince Williams. He's not a 3-down linebacker. You know what I mean? But we ain't got nobody else to put in there, man. When he covers backs out of the backfield or tight ends, he looked like Matt Millen used to, man. Former Raider, man. So we're gonna get exposed a little bit. But hey, the biggest thing, Chris and Ike, is when you got the offense finally clicking. Our defense is made up of big play players. Whether it's going to be TJ Watt, a strip sack, whether it's going to be part-time superstar Mike Hilton getting an interception or a sack, whether it's going to be Tuitt or Cam Hayward getting a sack or making a tackle for loss, whether it's Mika Fitzpatrick getting a sack, or interception. Sooner or later, we're going to make a big play defensively, but only if it's only going to be a factor if the offense is putting up points. If the offense is only putting up 17 points a game, in today's NFL, no matter how good your defense is, you're going to lose a lot of games if your offense can't get more than that, especially going into the playoffs. So if the offense can continue to flourish, and I tell you what, it's disappointing if you look at this is the biggest stat since Mike Munchak, the offensive line coach, left. The Pittsburgh Steelers are dead last in the National Football League in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 conversions, man. And that just means you can't run the football. And they got to do something next year moving forward with the offensive line coach and the offensive line.
Yeah, and I believe that was actually a hot question that was asked to Mr. Rooney actually during a press conference that he's had this past week. Where they actually
Mr.
addressed
Rooney?
that over.
Mr. Rooney?
No.
He don't know nothing about football. He inherited a team, man. Art Rooney II is the only Rooney I know. Don't know a thing about football.
Hey, but you know
He
what?
said, look,
They asked him, they asked him, and it was brought to his attention, and he brought it up, and he mentioned what you basically said was, over the past 2 seasons, they definitely have seen, that the running game, they're last in the league, so he's like coming up this upcoming season, next year they're going to have to make some changes. So I definitely agree with you. What was your thoughts, Chris, as far as with the running game, just to keep it there? I mean, it didn't look like we attempted to run the ball.
I agree with Jim, bro. I mean, 100%. I agree. I mean, it was just we need somebody. I'm not going to say it's our offensive line because we do have a nice line. I think that we have the ability to run. I think that the plays that are being called are the wrong ones. The holes are never there. They're off calls. I mean, like, the only running play we're really known for is 3rd and 18 draw. That is like the only running play we are known for. Like, and it's always called. And I mean, it's to the point where, like, come on, man, they ain't gonna call it this time. And they said, you're like, here they go, fuck, they're gonna run draw.
Yeah,
and you can see the teams on the other side. Like, look, they're running it, smacking each other. Look, they're gonna do it. Look, like, our offensive play calling is just shit, bro. We need something else. I mean, like they say that Ben does do a lot of his play calling. I don't know if maybe they're catching on to it, that he has a rhythm they can click it on to or something like that, or maybe it should be more of both of them. Or I mean, some got to change on the offense. Our offensive coordination is shit. Like shit. If it wasn't, and I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for the talent of this team, I don't think we would have got as far as we were with this record.
Yeah.
We've got where we are running draws and slants.
Yeah.
With an occasional post. Look back at the highlights. Look at whatever you want to look at. Go look at all the games. Slants, occasional post, and some draws. Offensive playbook. We got the Mud Dogs playbook.
That's crazy.
We got the Mud Dogs playbook with no TJ Watts Bobby.
But you know what, Chris? I agree with you 100% because I mean, like, if we look at it at the end of the season, barring all the injuries and everything that we had, I mean, we could reflect back and we can look at a lot of plays that were left out there on the field, from the offense. So it's definitely would be interesting to see, what they're going to do to, get some of these things corrected. Especially seeing that, week number 17, it looks like it's turned to a bye week with us playing against the Cleveland Browns, who,
because they're all
fighting for their lives, but
they're still out. They've left practice. They didn't practice today either.
Oh, they did? Okay.
No, they canceled today too, they said.
Okay, because you know what, Jim? We were actually just talking about this.
I just see someone posted up that they canceled.
Joe Hayden and who's the other player, Jim?
Ebron.
Okay, so Ebron and Hayden, they just tested positive. So he's saying that they may be out for the first playoff game. So I'm thinking that if Cleveland, if they did if they closed down their facility and everything,
Yeah.
maybe it may be a situation where they may have to maybe push this game back and it may not
How
be
we gonna
played on
push
Sunday.
it? That's the shit. How we gonna push it? We're gonna do the same thing we did last time and kill everybody. Well, how you gonna put right before the playoffs? You can't push it back and try to squeeze 4 games in it and go, hey, playoffs. You can't do that shit. Like we already have everything split to a specific time where you can get enough rest so that you're going into playoffs with what you need. You start cutting that time off, now you're fucking with the schedule again. You remember what happened last time they did that shit? 3 losses in a row, bro. I remember that shit.
Yeah.
It's like we wore ourselves down too fast and we had nothing left in the gas tank. We can't do that shit anymore. I mean, I say fuck it. I mean, if it comes to that, I would take it as a full loss like they're doing now, and I'd run in with every second string player I had. I'd have everybody else on the sideline dogging pants. Like, cool, I want to play that way. Take
but
that.
you know what? I'm thinking that if it was
earn that $250,000 a year.
but you know what? You know what, Chris? I'm thinking that if it is a situation where, let's say that this game is postponed or something, it's going to be beneficial for us because if you're looking at Hayden and Ebron, I mean, those are 2 impact players on both sides of the field.
They probably weren't even going to play. Be able to go. They probably weren't even going to play anyhow. They pulled almost every starter off the roster. They weren't taking no shot.
I'm talking about not this week, but I'm talking about playoffs.
Well, yeah. So even the Browns game won't matter either way, is what I'm saying. So if they take it or leave it, I'd rather them just cancel the whole game and call it a day. Just give everybody the day off because it's not like this game's going to matter to anybody.
Well, no, it does matter because if Cleveland wins, then they're in. If they lose, they're out. So this is a very important game for Cleveland. It doesn't mean shit to us.
About that.
Like we could definitely. Oh no, we don't want to play it. Like we can send the Steelers from 1980.
We still,
in that game.
But we still don't care. You hear them? They're still sitting on the starters. We don't give a shit. Like we're gonna do that anyhow. So I mean, can't take it. We're giving you a shot anyhow. Like.
I got to look into it, but I know, I think really the biggest reason why Cleveland lost last week was because their whole receiving core was hit with the COVID. So they were all down, so.
That means they don't get the game then.
Exactly. I'm not sure if they're all back yet.
All the receivers was in a hot tub together.
No shit.
In the hot tub together. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think they're back this week. The receivers are back this week.
Yeah. No, they're back this week. Okay, so that's a bright spot because if that happened to them, then there is a good possibility that after 5 days or so, we can get Hayden and some of these guys back on and cross our fingers that no one else goes down. Especially with the holidays and all that passing.
If I was Tomlin, I'd pull everybody. I literally would put the entire second string in there, let the practice squad get their shine on national TV. And chill. I mean, they get paid too. Let them get in there, get their game on. I mean, the game matters, but it really don't. I wouldn't sacrifice my starters for this game whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Chris because there's no team in the National Football League that wants to forfeit. Whether Cleveland needed this game or not, even if they didn't need this game, they wouldn't forfeit because if you postpone a game, you get paid. You forfeit, nobody gets paid. And in the NFL, you only get paid 16 checks. So missing, one check that's equal out of all the other 16 checks, man. Some of these dudes is getting $2 million a game, man, that they can't get back. So that's why they never want to forfeit. Yeah, postponement is one thing, but a forfeit, you don't get paid either team, man. So that's
good point.
Huge. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, so this week is definitely going to be interesting. I'm like you said, I'm not sure who Tomlin's going to play. I know Big Ben, he's out, but he should have his ass down there practicing all week, preparing himself just like if he was playing this week, because he's that type of quarterback that you can't let him just take a vacation. You can't give him a week off. Like we need to keep cracking this whip on Big Ben until the end of the year, until this thing is played out. Because he starts so cold, it's like I want to see him coming in this first round of the playoffs, especially if it's going to be a situation where we may be down some players, barring COVID, injury. We don't know how this next game is going to turn out. It still has to be played.
Here's a list. Pouncey, Watt, Cam Hayward, and Roethlisberger are the names so far, and they said there's more that aren't playing on Sunday.
Okay.
Wow.
So I mean, he's
Wow.
taking out. And they said in addition to Ben Roethlisberger, they said that, and they said plus I guess there's supposed to be 3 more. So he's taking out all his main guys. He's not trying to risk it, which is I completely understand. That's the smartest thing to do.
So
Tomlin
I'm
is a great
assuming
coach.
I'm assuming Vince Williams, he should be one of the starters on defense that probably shouldn't be playing.
They might leave somebody in there, but if it gets to the point where they don't need them or it's something bullshit, they're gonna pull them instantly. Like I expect to see a couple guys in the first half, and I expect to see them all pulled the whole second.
Yeah, I wonder, and Jim, you might know this. How is it for a game like this? Like, say for instance, if they sit a lot of starters, can they pull somebody off the street, or like, how does that all work? Like when they're not starting players, I know like they would have to if they don't have enough individuals to start for the game, if it's behind injury or anything. How does that work as far as with them pulling, new individuals in this situation? Because I know they extended the practice squad where they added a few additional players to the roster there for them to have available, but I'm not sure how that works, if they can sign an individual to the practice squad just for this game and then pull them up, or
No, you can't. Well, back in the day, you could pull guys off the street, but now you got to depend on your practice squad, your backup players. Now, if you pull a guy off the street, it's 14 days quarantine
before he can go.
Before he can join the team. That's why I thought they bring Clay Matthews in a couple of weeks ago. Get him through quarantine and have him as an insurance policy going into the playoffs, but they didn't do that. So with this virus out here, man, you just got to rely on what's already on your roster, your practice squad, your backups, and like Chris said, man, this game means nothing to the Pittsburgh Steelers other than coming out healthy. They're putting Mason Rudolph up there as a sacrificial lamb.
Hey, please tell me you see the meme. Seen the meme with him standing there and he had a can of
twisted iced tea. Yeah, I mean, I love the Steelers, man. I mean, Mason, he's a Steeler, so I mean, like I'm riding with him. I hope he gets a W. But that situation, I think, is going to go down in history as like the craziest, funniest situation. Like, I mean, all the memes and things like that I've seen like over like the past year or so has just been amazing, man. But the one with D'Angelo Williams that I put on last week's episode with the guy that had the gamers the dent in his head, and he's like what, he's gonna win the man of the year award, like what? He's like this dude looked like the Undertaker's brother Kane. That's what he looked like. That took the cake for me, man. But
even if I didn't watch football, I would watch this game expecting something to happen.
Oh yes,
If I didn't watch football, but hey, ain't this where that dude got punched in the head hit with the helmet? Oh yeah, I'm watching that shit.
Oh man,
I'm watching.
Like I said, I'm still treating this like a regular season game. One, because Cleveland needs to win, so it's going to be interesting to see, how they come out and perform. I mean, you seen Baker Mayfield? He looked terrible last week. I mean, even his post game press conference and everything, he just looked like he was just beat. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, dude, you were playing with practice squad wide receivers. Like, I mean, you're putting this all on your back, man. There's only so much that you can do. Like, I'm not a Cleveland fan, but he had me feeling bad. I'm about to take the clown mask off this guy. Like, you're starting to make me feel bad for you. And that's something,
He's really not that bad. It's just like it's just the overall team together sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have a whole bunch of average players, and you're playing in the NFL with a whole bunch of over-average players. You know what I mean? They're like,
you know what? I think I'm being honest with you. They have a pretty solid team. I think a lot of it over the past few years have been coaching. Like, You know, you seen a lot of the mistakes that Hugh Jackson he made, and then right when he got out there, they put Freddie Kitchens. You see
Yeah,
the debacle that he did
maybe.
last year, and look at the guy who they have now. If they didn't have the COVID, they probably would be. They're guaranteed really to make the playoffs. If they didn't have this COVID situation, they would have made the playoffs this year. And I think last year, if Myles Garrett didn't go ape shit at the end of the season, they would have made the playoffs last year too. So it's like when they talk about that Cleveland curse, I guess the Cavaliers were able to break it, but like for whatever the reason is, there's like a demon that's just on their back. Like you're about to make the playoffs, your best defensive player smacks somebody across the head with a helmet, and he's out for the rest of the year.
Hey, everybody! I remember when that happened. Everyone going nuts. I saw screaming. Everyone was going nuts. I can't.
But you know what? They got too carried away last year, and it just wasn't Cleveland. I think a lot of teams, because we whipped ass so much, as soon as Ben was injured last year, everyone became the bully. They're like, okay, yeah, you got Big Ben. We have no respect for Mason Rudolph. Okay, yeah, we're coming out here. We're whipping ass. And in that situation, he just got carried away. He just got too caught up in the moment. Because if that was Ben, he would have never done that.
Listen, I hope they put Dobbs in. I hope they put Dobbs in for a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you on it.
He's going to dress.
I'm not really hating on Rudolph at all. But you had your chance, bro. And I'm not going to be a dick when I say that. I mean, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He just doesn't fit our offense is what it is.
I'm wondering if the Duckster, I'm wondering if he's going to suit up on Sunday.
I've
seen him practicing. Yeah, I saw him practicing, but
that's my dude. Ducky's a Steeler gang, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
Ducky's Steeler gang, bro.
I would say at this point in time right now, I'd rather see Duck or Dobbs, at least for the short yardage. We can't run a quarterback sneak with Roethlisberger. So allow this game with those two quarterbacks to put something on tape. Yeah, to test it out to see, okay, who is it that can come in here and if it's 2 and 3 in the red zone, can run a play or at least run a quarterback sneak. Give us that, kind of like how Philly did with Jalen Hurts, where, you know, they would take Wentz out the game in the red zone and allow him to come in and be a little bit more mobile, make something happen. Give some of these guys an opportunity, you know. And this is a perfect game because Ben can't play, you know. So this is a perfect opportunity in my opinion.
I agree.
You know,
what you think, Jim?
Yeah, you know, hey, listen, Cleveland limped in here in Heinz Field, and the Steelers blew them out. You know, Cleveland hates the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody in the division hates the Steelers. This is their Super Bowl. This is actually the rivalry, man.
Yeah.
You know, back before 1970, when there wasn't, you know, there was the AFC and the NFL and the AFL. They asked the Pittsburgh Steelers to move over to the AFL, and the Steelers said, we ain't going unless Cleveland go. Even though Cleveland was beating the Pittsburgh Steelers almost every game with Jimmy Brown and all them. That's the rivalry, man. You know, it's a rivalry. Cleveland, the fans of Cleveland hates Pittsburgh and vice versa, man. But in that first game, man, James Conner ran for over 100 yards. It ain't going to happen this time. You know, all-pro Nick Chubbs was out of the game with a MCL injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield came in there with severely bad ribs. This game, Cleveland's coming in. They don't care nothing about the playoffs. They don't care nothing. They want to embarrass and blow out the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't care that we're playing all backups, like Chris said. Cleveland Browns is going in there to blow out the Steelers and embarrass the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think that's what's going to happen.
No, now wait a minute, Jim, because keep in mind, right? Those same Cleveland Browns, if they do that this week, they might have to come back the following week right here in Pittsburgh and do it again. So you don't think that that's running across their mind that, you know, we might have to see this team, and it's difficult to play a team, you know, 3 times in a season. Like, everyone knows that.
Not a team that ain't seen the playoffs in 3 decades. Hey man, this is their Super Bowl, man. They
Okay.
ain't thinking that far down the line, man. I mean, you think we celebrated winning the AFC North last week, man? If Cleveland beats us and wins they may have a parade. LeBron James may come back for the parade,
Oh my God.
Wow. Hey, I can see
when is
them
the
really
last time?
celebrating a game that they beat nothing but backups. Like
When is
they
this
won the
one?
Super Bowl.
When is the last time they went to the playoffs?
I think
What?
when Bruce Arians was offensive coordinator, they went 1 year. I forget what year that was. 2006 or something, seven,
What he
something like
was?
that.
Wasn't
Hey,
that with
2002, 2007.
2002. Okay, 2002. Yeah, so they went twice.
Oh, and they got
And
2020 on here too. They already got it on here. They all look.
Okay.
They already got it on here right there.
Hey, man.
2020.
Hey, look, man. Hey, Jim, man, you gotta call Goodell and tell him that they gotta start telling us ahead of time who's winning these games, man. We get the proper bet in here so we can start making some money, man.
Hey, Jim just called that straight off. I looked on there. I said, I know this don't say 2020. Oh,
yeah, right.
shit.
But man, it's nice to see. Like I've been saying this for a while because they've been so bad that, like, it's going to be interesting to see when they do get competitive, how the rivalry and everything picks back up. So this is actually what I wanted. Like I still remember, what was it back in? It might have been back in 03, I believe. It was back in 03. When they actually had to come here to Heinz Field that year, and they played against Tommy Maddox, and he came back, and it was in the snow and everything, and that was a big game. So the Cleveland Browns rivalry, man, I'm all for it. I like the competitive games that the Steelers win, of course. But as long as they're competitive, like I don't want it to be like how it was that one year where we went up there and spanked them, and James Harrison almost killed the fan that ran onto the field.
Oh yeah,
It was like 41-0 or something like that. Like for a while, that's all it was. It was just like, okay, yeah, Cleveland check, Cincinnati check. It was like, if it wasn't Baltimore, like you didn't have to really think about them. So we
I
can
didn't
get
think
it where it's
about this game.
competitive. Yeah,
I didn't think nothing about this game at all until I realized Rudolph was going to play again. And then I was like, nah, hold on, wait. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, after I knew we didn't have anything to play, because I think some people were trying to say last week that if Kansas City would have lost, that we could have still potentially had the same record and maybe got the first seed. But when I was running all the outcomes and everything through my online simulator that I was able to find, I actually didn't see the Chiefs, coming out of that number one slot. So I figured it was going to play out this way, where we would probably get the second or third. And with it being limited fans, during the stadium, there's not a team that's really going to have a home field advantage. I think that it's going to be pivotal for the mayor to, let fans into this game, coming up here at Heinz Field, because I think that that's unfair. Like, there's going to be fans there at the we should have some fans out here. So I think they proved it. What they say is going to be a couple thousand that may be allowed to get in there. So hopefully, that may give them some, additional, energy to, pull it out. But it's going to be interesting.
More like a motivation. More like a motivation, like you're saying. Like, to have the fans there is more motivation.
Yeah.
Like it.
Exactly, because you have some players that play well during practice, but then in the game they're terrible, and then you have some players that don't play well during practice, but during the game with all the fans, they can take a shot of Henny before the game and get it to the zone. Like what Marshawn Lynch said, he took a shot of Hennessy right before every game.
Man, I'm so glad you said that, because, man, see, I grew up in an era where there was 6 exhibition games, man, and some guys just ain't ain't practice players, they're game players. One dude was Barry
Yeah.
Sanders. Barry
Hmm.
Sanders was so buried on the bench at Oklahoma State. Now he was playing behind Thurman Thomas,
Mm,
number one. But Barry Sanders is the type dude, man, he just sits on the bench, man. And when Thurman Thomas left, Barry had one more year left. They recruited every running back out of high school and junior college they could. They know Barry could do it. But they put him in the game when he ran
mm,
for 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. I mean,
yeah.
he's a get. They had no idea that he didn't start tailback to a senior year in high school because the coaches thought he
Mm,
wouldn't stick it in there, stick his nose in there, and he ended up leading the state in rushing. But some guys, you just got to put them in the game and see. And when you're cutting out these exhibition games, man, and all of this, and now you don't hit during practice, how do you know a guy's a true baller, man? So I
yeah.
agree with you. Games like this is important to find out, man. Hey, can you play at this level or not? You know, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys
Yes.
that's great in practice, man. Even in boxing, you see these dudes, man. They're killers in the gym, hitting the heavy bag and the pads. They get in the ring, man. Man.
Glass
Boy,
jaw.
yeah, man.
What did they
Yeah.
what they say about they said Nate Robinson, man? I'm like, I know he had to have gone through some type of training. Like he just did not step in the ring. Like he stepped in that ring like that was his first fight. But I'm like, I know he had to have gotten some training and at least sparred with
You
some
didn't see
fighters.
it?
Like I know he
You
just
didn't see it? He got training
yeah,
on the
that was
ring.
crazy, man.
He got training on the ring that night. It was
Yeah,
CPR.
and that's no knock to Nate
Yeah.
because I mean, like when I saw that situation, I'm like, there was a big difference of weight, height. He shouldn't have never been in that fight. That was
Yeah,
like
he got.
it
I
really
can't
should
believe
have
he got
just
beat
been a
up by a
street
Jonas
fight or
brother.
something. By Jonas brother. Yeah, right. Back TikTokster. That's what he was.
Yeah.
TikToker. TikTok
Right when he was done, he
superstar.
was like, bye, was all that shit.
Yeah. But he came to the ring with some Curtis Blow, man. Old school Curtis Blow. So like yeah, that was another epic fight, man. But so it's the same way, like, all the way across the board. It's like, some players, like you said, Jim, when the lights come on, they can go out there and perform. But as far as with practice and everything, they're not giving it their all because it's something mental that's telling them like this isn't, as important as you're making it. Kind of like with Allen Iverson with his whole little practice situation with Larry Brown. He's like, I'm averaging damn near close to 50 a night. Nobody else is doing this. And you want to talk about practice? Like, so, but there's some people like Big Ben that need practice. They will go out there
Well,
and be cold, will be throwing the ball at the man selling the popcorn in the concession stand unless he's getting practice throughout the whole week. So I think on a coaching standpoint, it's like you have to know, what players need that additional work and what players you can, scale back on. And that's the reason why
Well,
I
I
say,
tell
like,
you,
for this game, like, I wouldn't be letting Ben rest. Like, you're not going to play. We're not going to throw you out there on the field. But please believe this whole entire week, you're going to be getting your arm loose, getting your timing, everything down with these wide receivers, going that extra mile so that this first week in the playoffs, you're ready to run. Because we don't even know how long we're going to have Ben in. Like, he's going to be impacting our salary cap at least for the next year or two, maybe even in the future, even if he decides to stay even longer.
well,
So we got to
I
get as
tell you
much
what,
out of him as we can.
I agree with you 100%, Ike. And one last story, man. The guy that I seen that was the biggest difference between practice and game was this skinny linebacker named Jack Lambert. Jack
Mm.
Lambert was horrible. Jack Lambert was horrible in practice. They tried to move him. He was 6'5", 210 pounds, smoked cigarettes, didn't lift weights. Walk-ons from Slippery Rock could blow him out in practice. Now he fought a lot, but on game day, he could lift a car up off a child because the
Oh, wow.
adrenaline, the game day adrenaline. Jack Lambert went from 20 to 220. He was a totally different person because that adrenaline, man, that fire he had on game day, And some people just bring that fire on game day, man. You know what I mean? That adrenaline gets flowing, man. They pumped up. And that's how Jack Lambert played every game. But if you ever seen him practice, man, terrible, man. Because you don't bring that same game day adrenaline, man.
Man, you know what, Jim? I thought you were going to say Tim Tebow, man.
I love me some Tim Tebow. He actually played against my cousin in high school.
Oh, he did?
I had a cousin that played down the high school ball in Florida, and I think it was like 70-0 going into the fourth quarter. Man, Tim Tebow whipped him pretty good, and after that game, he joined the Navy.
Well, yeah,
he
gave the football up. He said, "I'm done."
Tim Tebow was a beast, man. He was a beast, boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, he was one of those ones where, like, he was terrible in practice, but if the game was on the line, he would find a way. I mean, that playoff game when he hit Demaryius Thomas on that dime over Ike, man. Oh man, that was the type of loss that, like, if you weren't a real Steeler fan, boy, you would have switched teams, man. You'd have switched teams. Like, I think a couple electronic devices got broke on that day, man. So, but this was another excellent week, you guys, man. Hopefully, they'll be able to, get all of our backups and practice squad players and squeak out with a W because even though it doesn't count, potentially here in the playoffs, it may count. I know because we beat Tennessee this year, we had the upper hand advantage on them if we do win. And I think Tennessee is like the only team in the AFC that we really have to concern ourselves about.
Buffalo
on the standing. Oh yeah, Buffalo. You're right. Because we win this game and Buffalo loses, I think we'll have a better record than them. So we would get the 2 seed and they would get the 3. So yeah, you're right. Tennessee's actually behind us. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we can secure it where we can get the home, some type of, the more home field games that we can get, the better, especially if they're going to let fans there in the stadium. So, I'm rooting for these boys, for the backups, for Sutton. Who else is going to be out there tomorrow? Is going to be balling out there tomorrow, especially Sutton. He's going to be somebody that's going to need to stay healthy and hold it down, especially with Joe Hayden potentially maybe being out for that first playoff game. We need Sutton, make sure he's in rare form, be ready to go. Him, Justin Lane.
I know our nose guard Bugs. I know a girl that he's dating, so he ain't gonna be in no shape to play.
Oh man, okay.
He ain't ready for her, bro.
Oh, hey, you know what? Another thing too, before we jump out this week, you guys, field goal kicker situation. What's the deal? I mean, I'm looking at him, Boswell. He didn't suit up last week. We talked about this before with Wright. He doesn't have the leg. Luckily, he wasn't put in a position where he had to kick a long field goal on Sunday. But, it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out with him. They haven't made any adjustments, there at the field goal, at the kicker position on special teams. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. Again, like Chris has said earlier, man, you got to bring in. You should have brought somebody in to replace him, and now you can't because they got to go through 14 days quarantine. So we're stuck with who we're stuck with. We know his legs not that strong.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it all pans out. What were you saying there, Chris?
On my worry meter, that shit is like, wait.
Hey, but look, you saying that now until it's like the end of the game and we're on like the 30 or something like that, and we could kick a field goal and Tomlin's going for it. And you're talking shit like, this field goal kicker doesn't have a leg, and Tomlin has to go for it. It's 4th and 3, and the playoffs is on the line. Like,
you say that like we can count on Boswell.
Well, he's been money. Within 45, he's been money though.
Yeah, but he's missed a couple random ones out of nowhere, bro.
He's missing
He's
the
good
extra
for a random
points.
out of nowhere just shank, and you're like,
yeah,
so
he is,
look,
but
that's
I'd
what
rather
scares
have him in
me.
there than Wright.
That's what
Wright.
scares me. Him in the playoffs, we get it down, tie game, or we're down by fucking 2. We get in front of that field goal, and he gets one of his shanks.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. Ever since
A whole
he's
laces out tight.
When he gets hot within short yardage, he's money. You know, so I feel like we get him within 45, we should be good. But
What's
as
the
far
last
as the Wright, man,
the last one he missed was only like 30 something.
well, yeah, I mean he's known for missing a few. You got to catch him, especially if he starts missing extra points in the playoffs. He miss an extra point. Oh man, yeah, it could go all downhill. So I hear you.
That's what scares me, man, because he's known for shanking one, and I don't want it to come down to the playoffs. I mean, Lord forgive my team for being shaky sometimes. It's a hell of a roller coaster, but it comes down to it. My offense ain't performing correctly again. It comes down to this kick, and I see Boswell. I'm sweating fucking bullets, bro.
Hey man,
like, literally,
I'm not
bullets.
sweating.
Like,
I'm not sweating as many bullets as I am with Wright. I'm not. But look, bro, I'm not sweating as many bullets as I am with Wright, man, because at least we seen Boswell knock down some game-winning field goals.
Why
Wright, they won't even give him the opportunity, bro. It's like,
but why we got settled? Why can't we just get a kicker that's gonna make them all?
Yeah, you're right.
Why can't we get a kicker that's got like a 99 rate? You mean somebody that's, you mean that if they miss one, everyone's like, wow, really? It's not there it is again with that shank shit. You mean why can't
we need to get someone with a longer leg. Like we need someone that can kick up to 60 yards. If you can't bang a 60-yarder, then you don't need to be in the league at this point. That's just in my opinion, man.
Like Jim always says, it's weapons.
Yeah,
that's another thing you have to guard against now. We have a kicker that can go that far. So it's now not the fact that we got to get to the 30 to be able to kick a field goal. Now you got to be worried that all we got to do is get to that 40 or that 40. I mean, somewhere around there, maybe past that. That's a whole nother threat. That's another weapon. They were like Jim was saying before a couple of weeks ago, like that.
Like
that
Baltimore with Tucker. He's done it for years. Like Baltimore, they play sound defense and they got a kicker that's accurate. And he's got leg, and he deserved to be paid. And I think that last contract that they gave Boswell after we had that big run, when we had Levy on, we were actually running the ball, and we would get into those situations where we needed to kick a field goal, and he was accurate, he was money. We paid him, and then he started missing a few, and started having some of these mental lapses, and we're at now. So
yeah, he was being weird. What's going on with him?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have some competition after this contract runs out. I'm not sure like how long this contract's supposed to be. I think it's probably going to be maybe this may be the last year or next year, maybe the last year.
No.
Or he signed for a while?
I said, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, got you.
Listen,
whenever that contract ends, I think they're going to look at options. I can guarantee
my entire team, I'll keep Boswell. I'll keep him. His whole shady ass leg and all, if we just get a backup quarterback. I'm cool. I will accept it. I don't give a shit about nothing else. Just please give me a backup quarterback. I need Ben to be able to train that offense, because if you do not know this offense, you will never make it. Like Mason might not be a bad quarterback, but our offense is only set to Ben's standards. Our whole entire offense was built around this guy. So to get somebody to fit in that exact puzzle piece is hard as fuck. They're used to Ben being able to stay there for this long, and then they always split in the middle where Ben can try to get through and pass the ball. You mean other quarterbacks don't like that? They try to run around the ends because they actually can run. So they try to run around, and that's where we're sending them. So I mean, we can't. It's gonna be. That's why I'm saying we need to get somebody in there fast. So I think be on our top priority list. Because don't get me wrong, Ben is my man. He has some good games, but no matter what, you can't beat time. He's getting older, man. That arm, you've seen it. That arm is getting tired. I mean, he's still accurate to a little bit, but when them later quarters, we're usually known as a second quarter team. We proved it this last game. Before that, though, you can see at the end of every game, we start fading off.
Because what we talked about this last week as far as, and I think I actually said it, where we didn't know whether it was a play calling or whether it was Big Ben's arm. We proved second half of last game, it's not the arm. Because when he wants to drop dimes, he's going to drop them. Like he was on the money in that fourth
Yeah, but
quarter.
like I said, he's
that's
still
the Ben Roethlisberger that I need to see.
Exactly, but he can't perform that all the time, full time. I mean, when he's getting older, you have to do that. Like James Harrison was an animal, absolute animal. But as you get older, you start losing that. Ray Lewis, that dude was an amazing athlete, animal. I always say his name because he was one of the most impressive players to me. He literally he'd have players literally scared to play him. Like, literally. But scared to play him. Like they would tell stories about when they were lined up against him. He would say shit that would have them like what the fuck? Like they would be shaky. Like players literally admitted to being scared to go against him.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris?
But
what we talked about as far as like with players who are, what do they say, the first ballot Hall of Famers, this is Big Ben's opportunity to, snatch that claim for him to be a first ballot, because those players that you just said were prime examples. James Harrison, Ray Lewis, they were players that lost a little bit, but at the end of the year, at the end of their careers, right before they exited, they found a way to at least get to the Super Bowl. Like James Harrison, he didn't win it with New England, but he at least got in there and produced and helped New England get to Super Bowl.
What you're forgetting,
Ray Lewis, he went out on a high cloud just like Jerome did. So I think like a lot of these good players, these first ballot, Hall of Famers, they find a way at the end of the year to get it done. Look at John Elway. He did the same thing where he went on he actually didn't win any Super Bowls, but at the end of the year, into his playing career, he was able to get out there and make it happen and actually go back to back. I feel like Ben is in the same position. It's like, what are you going to do? And you guys are old enough. You can reflect back on that first Super Bowl that John Elway won with Denver against Green Bay. And then the following year when they turned around, went back to back and beat Atlanta, they weren't a dominant team. They were just like us. They were losing games. I think we actually beat them late in like November, December that year. And we played them in the AFC Championship game. There were some people that projected us to, go out there and win. And John Elway, he went out there and he got it done. So that's what we talk about, first ballot Hall of Famers. I think this is Ben's opportunity this season. We went through all this adversity.
He's a Hall of Famer already, though. He's a Hall
of Famer. But I'm saying, like with me, I haven't fully separated Ben from Eli Manning. I think him and Eli are in the same category to me. No. And Phillip Rivers isn't even in that category because he hasn't won a championship.
Ben set so many damn records. Like I said, he just set that 60,000. He's one of only 3 quarterbacks that do that and win 2 Super Bowls.
Oh yeah, you're right. He has some stats, but
he's Hall of Fame all day.
Yeah,
but it's to me with Ben, I love him to death. But let me put it this way: it's like best example, Jordan. You're already great. Fade out gracefully. You don't want to stay here till you really hurt yourself, or they make you leave. You know what I mean? Like, let's get somebody here.
But you know what I'm saying?
And let's prepare to bow out gracefully. And I'm out.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, Chris? I'm saying as far as him taking the stamp and saying, hey, look, this is my team.
Oh, yeah.
I won the Super Bowl with it. You get what I'm saying? That's what's going to make everyone say, okay, look, when after 5 years, when he's done, bam, he's first ballot because of what it is that he did. Like those 2 championships that I think that he won, he was still young. Like the first year they did a lot of play calling that was in his favor. The second year they scaled it back and he didn't, with some of the injuries, he didn't play the full year. We weren't projected to win that year. The one year that we did win, like I said again, I think he had some adversity that he was dealing with off of the field and everybody came and battled back, but it still wasn't like this is his stamp. That was still more Coward's team. Yeah,
he's trying to get his Super Bowl before he leaves.
Exactly. This is your offense. If you need to get out there and get a stick and dial a play out in the dirt for us to win a game, then damn it, get out there and do it. Because now's the time. You're on the tail end of your career. Whatever it is that you got to do, make it happen. John Elway, he almost got decapitated getting that first down on that one play in the Super Bowl, but he had to get it done. So like I come in here and going into the playoffs, like I said again, man, I just want to see Ben get it done, man. This is his opportunity, in my opinion.
Jim, do we have any? Do you know if we're planning on getting any quarterbacks or anything? Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to try to draft one or not? What do you think? I mean, it's coming up more in the draft.
I know it would have to be through the draft because through free agency, there's not going to be anyone available with the cap space that we have.
Well, you got to look at. I think this game is very important. We as fans know the Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback, just like we knew the Steelers needed a running back. But what does the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach Tomlin and Kevin Colbert are very stubborn. If they like Mason Rudolph, they like Mason. They felt Mason Rudolph was a first-round draft pick when they got him in the third. So if they like Mason Rudolph and they don't see the flaws that we see, Mason Rudolph's going to be the backup quarterback again next year. And if Ben goes down, our team, will go down with it. But it depends on, we see that James Conner is a gutsy back. He's tough, but he's injury prone. He's always been hurt. But Coach Tomlin said before the season that that's his cowbell or whatever, however he put it. You know what I mean? We're going to run James Conner. Well, James Conner got hurt again. And I think they feel the same way with Mason Rudolph. Now, if Mason Rudolph just goes out and falls on his face, this last game, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers will adjust their thinking and try to draft a quarterback in the draft or get one in free agency. But right now, I really believe that Mason Rudolph is their backup quarterback, and they're set at backup quarterback. And that's sad. That's very sad.
Yeah.
And you just hurt my whole feelings with that old speech. All this was just injured. Deep inside, too. I was hoping you're going to be like, you know what? I heard a rumor because you be knowing everything. I was having lunch the other day with the recruiting officer from Pittsburgh. I'm waiting here to sign. And you told me exactly what I did not want to hear. No,
no, he's coming back. We won't deal with this another year. But I mean, you're right. You're right, Jim. It's going to be interesting to see, how he performs coming up tomorrow, man. Because this is his third year in the offense. Like, it has to start clicking sometime soon. So if it doesn't start tomorrow, because a good bit of the wide receivers are going to be out there. I think it may be a few linemen, a few of the core players, but especially the second string players and practice squad players that you're practicing with on a daily, they're going to be out there. So you're going to have your opportunity to see, how well the offense and how well you're paying attention, with your playbook on the sideline there, and when you're not in the games. Like, this is going to be his opportunity to show that he deserves that slot, and if not him, then Dobbs or Duck or somebody, because it's playoff football now. Like, we're in the playoffs for, a reason here, man. We got to get it done. We got to get it done this year.
Game's still scheduled to be played tomorrow.
Yeah. They haven't flexed it or changed it. So
I'm looking at it right now. I want to look it up.
We're still running. That's why I said it was interesting. You said that they closed the practice facility or something today, because I know that they did it. I think it was on maybe a Thursday or Friday, but I didn't know that they did it today. So, it'll be interesting to see. I would have figured they would have, if they closed it, they would have flexed it, and then maybe had the team maybe come into town maybe first thing tomorrow, right before the game. But if it's still 1 o'clock, I'm assuming they're probably already here. So,
Cleveland Browns closed facility for the third time in a row, 4 days after another positive COVID. 5 hours ago was posted.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I mean, that's one thing we can say about the NFL, man. They'll play it by ear. They'll cancel some shit like an hour before the game. But listen,
they will.
We changed our mind. It's not happening today, you guys. Go home.
We're gonna watch the game. It'll be the Big Bang Theory or some shit. We'll be like, what the fuck?
They just had the PA announcer be like, "Listen here, you guys, we're not playing today's game. Go home." The playoffs, no, that's not happening today. Yeah, y'all have to
Thanks
come
for
back
stopping,
Tuesday. y'all Yen's gonna have to come back on Tuesday or Wednesday to get this to figure out how it's going to all play out.